Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Ken Smith, just an old guy having fun with trains. Today I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we are getting ready to walk into this fantastic model train emporium. It's called Nick's Trains Hobby Shop. So let's go inside, check it out, see what's so fantastic about this amazing little hobby shop here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, good to see you.
Nick, it is an honor to be in this place. I have to tell you, I haven't seen anything like this really since my caboose hobby days back in the early 90s.
Yeah, that's pretty high praise. We were always impressed with caboose hobbies.
Well, I'm absolutely impressed with everything that I saw in here.
Well, we're trying to get bigger.
I see that, and that's what we'll get to that. But that's what these doors are going to be for,
That's what these doors
right?
are for. Yeah.
Awesome.
We're gonna go through here and have more room.
So before you get bigger, you started 30 years ago, quite small. Tell me about it.
I was, first of all, I am not a retailer at all. I have never worked in a retail store in my life until this.
Okay.
I am an engineering geologist by trade.
Okay.
And that's what I did for my career. But I was always interested in trains.
Right.
And I was searching around for my niche in trains. I didn't want to join a club. I don't have anything against clubs. I just didn't want to join one.
Right.
So I thought I was a train collector.
Okay.
I decided a long time ago, I'm a train collector.
Right.
And I was fascinated with American Flyer S-gauge post-war trains.
Okay.
So I started doing what everybody else does. I would go to flea markets or train sales or whatnot, and I would buy American Flyer post-war, and I would take it home and I would dust it off and fix it. And then we had a spare bedroom, and I put shelves on the wall like everybody else.
Right.
Put my new train up on that shelf.
New to me train.
New to me train.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a little small layout, which I didn't actually use much, but anyway. And I thought that was it.
Okay.
And then one day we were having a party at the house, and this lady came up to me and she said, "You have a magnificent train collection." And literally for the first half a second or so, I thought, what the hell is she talking about?
Right.
And then I realized she had been upstairs and looked in that bedroom.
Okay.
But what I also realized at that moment was I didn't see those trains anymore. They were like wallpaper.
Right.
I passed that bedroom every day.
Right.
I'm sure I looked in there. So that was my epiphany of, guess what? You're not really a train collector.
Right.
You better find another niche.
Right. So you went from niche to niche,
right?
Because you got to find a niche to get rich, right?
That's right.
But anyhow, go ahead.
So I really liked working on trains. That's what I really enjoyed doing. So I decided to start a weekend business repairing trains at a local indoor flea market.
Interesting.
Set up a little. Set up a little booth, in a real small area, and I put my sign out, and it was moderately successful. People come by, and everybody started coming by saying stuff like, well, I need a package of straight track. And I would think, well, do you see any track around here? This is it's a repair shop. Do you see track hanging up? And it happened enough that not the sharpest crayon in the pack, but I finally figured out, well, maybe I better get some of that stuff. So I had to search around for a distributor that would work with us, because we were not 40 hour a week. We were legitimate, but we didn't meet the criteria. And I finally found one distributor, excuse me, who would supply us on a limited basis. And it just started growing. We stayed in that flea market for 5 years.
Okay.
And my wife, being smarter than me, said, "You have 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Right.
You need to decide what it is you want to do." And at that particular moment, there was a place for rent right up here at this shopping center,
Okay.
and my son agreed to run the shop. I mean, I was still working.
Sure.
He agreed to run the shop during the week, and so we just started the train shop, and then we could buy, from distributors. We were legit completely. Right. We were open 48 hours a week, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And after 5 years there, we moved over here. Excuse me. Moved over here. And again, my wife said, we bought this building 20 years ago.
Right.
And my wife said, well, you're still working, so you can't have the whole building. You can just have the back half
right.
of the building. You got to rent the front of the building,
okay.
which was a smart move. So we did that for another, 5, 6, 7 years until I retired.
Okay.
And then when I retired, we just moved into the whole building. And we'd always been buying trains. We got a small warehouse that's full of trains that
right.
we can't put out. We don't have enough room, in spite of the fact that I thought this was the largest building I'd ever seen in my life. And,
right.
I'd never need any more room. So much for that. So now we're building this addition.
Right. Which is behind these doors.
Which is going to be,
right.
through
this
these
is going to be an aisleway.
It's going to be an aisleway.
Okay.
And it's going to be nice. I mean, we actually planned, we spent a lot of time thinking about how the inside was going to be done
right.
before we even hired an architect to do the building. And so it's going to be helpful, but it's only going to be an additional 1,200 square feet, and I figure we need an additional 8,000 square feet, but we're screwed. We can't. This is all we get.
How much square foot do you have here?
We have 2,800 square feet
okay.
here, and,
all right.
and then we'll have 1,200 over there.
Okay,
so we'll have 4,000 square feet, which is,
that's still a lot of retail space.
It is, but it's about half as much as we think we need.
Yeah.
And here's a funny story along the way. I was looking at all kinds of options. So about 5 years ago, I thought, what we need is a warehouse.
Okay.
We just need to buy us a warehouse. And we can convert part of it into the train shop, and then we can store stuff.
Right.
And we can have our shop and all this stuff. What a great idea. So I called my realtor and I said, Valerie, I want to buy a warehouse in Raleigh somewhere,
sure.
10,000 square feet. I'll take 5,000, but if you can get 10,000, that's what I want.
Yeah.
She said, okay. So in about a week or so, she came back and she said, well, Nick, there's two things.
Money and a lot of money.
She didn't start off with that. She said, there's two things you need to know. One is, there are no warehouses for sale in this area.
Oh, wow.
She said, I found one in Roxborough.
Okay.
Well, that's, an hour and a half from here.
Sure.
I said, no, that's too far.
Yeah.
And she said, well, the second thing is, if there were one for sale, you could not afford it.
Yeah.
So that was money.
Right.
So.
So you have some stuff in storage. I'm assuming you probably rent a.
No, we don't rent a place.
Okay.
We actually we own that little. It's not a huge place. It's
right.
It's basically a 2.5 car, 2-story garage.
Okay.
Packed full of trains.
Right.
We have a lot of used new trains,
right.
obviously, but we also buy train collections from
right.
people, or just trains, or whatever they got.
Sure.
We buy stuff we shouldn't buy,
right.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And people come in here, I've got my, trains, and we go through them and we explain to them what they have here. We look up the prices.
Sure.
Lionel's pretty easy. There's price guides, but,
right.
eBay's real good for other stuff. And then we got a lot of just institutional knowledge from doing it for so
sure.
long. We say, this is what you got here, and this is what we're willing to pay for it if you want to sell it to us, or whatever
right.
you want to do. And we end up buying a lot of trains, and we repair a lot of trains. We've got, Peter is getting really good at repairing modern Lionel trains.
Okay.
And really good, actually. And but we have let's see, we have 4 other guys that work in their homes,
Okay.
and they just come here, pick the trains up. So we got this killer HO guy. He's actually lives in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And we've got a G scale guy.
Okay.
He's really good, really good. And we've got I'll tell you the story about the G scale guy in a minute. That's an interesting story. And then we've got a couple of guys that do post-war, pre-war, Lionel, Flyer, Marks. As a matter of fact, one of the guys, he just loves Marks trains.
Okay.
And
wow.
Yeah, he likes it.
I thought I modeled the redheaded stepchild, but there's
no, he just loves
there's
Marks
one there.
trains. Yeah, something for everybody. The only thing we really don't have, we don't have good in scale. We're constantly looking for an in scale. In scale is so small. So tedious, I think, that I mean, there's an in-scale club here, and some guys would do it, but
right.
they don't. You can get into a lot of time.
Sure. Yeah.
Just trying to fix in-scale stuff. I wish eventually we'll get somebody. The G-scale guy. So we didn't know a lot about G-scale trains,
right.
but we were buying stuff, and this happened, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe.
Okay.
And we know a lot more now, but so we bought some stuff, and there was a G-scale F unit, I think, in it.
Okay.
So we have a test track in the back, and I said, put this on the test track. Well, they said, well, it doesn't work, doesn't run. I said, well, what the heck? So we just set it up front. I was sitting there, it's a nice looking train, but didn't run. So this fella came in one day, and he'd been in a couple of times before. He was in the G.
Uh-huh.
And so one day he said, well, what's up with this train up here? I said, well, that's the one we bought, but it doesn't run. Essentially, one of these days, I got to figure out what's wrong with it. He said, yeah. So he walked over to it, and he lifted off the top plate to reveal the switches,
uh-huh.
which we didn't know existed.
Uh-huh.
And he flipped the switch to on. And then he put the top plate back on. And he said, now
goodness.
try it.
Now try it.
Oh, damn, it runs.
What do you know?
So,
it's a miracle.
I said, we knew that. He said, no, you didn't. He said, do you need a G-scale repair guy? I said, yes, as a matter of fact, we do. So he's our G-scale.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's our G-scale guy.
That's awesome. So you've been in business a total of 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
Looking at expanding. What, if I had to ask you seriously, you don't model, which is unique.
I don't, yeah.
In and of itself.
George does, but I don't.
Right. But if what is probably your favorite aspect of being
running
in
the
business?
train shop?
Yeah.
I like dealing with people.
Yeah.
That was my niche or my niche.
Yeah.
That was it. I just like to, people coming here from all over the country, really.
Yeah.
They don't come specifically here. We say they do, but they don't.
Right.
They're here visiting family, and they come over here, And it's just interesting to find out about where they live, where they've been, what they're doing,
Sure.
And, we stay out of politics. We're political like everybody else, but we let everybody speak their mind.
Yeah.
That's fine, whatever's good.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating. Yeah, to me, it's just fascinating.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
And then we hear stories about the trains, particularly the older ones. They'll bring them in. This was my grandfather's train. A lady called me the other day. She wants to sell us, she's trying to decide. She's got a 1957 Lionel girl set that
wow.
her father gave her in 1957.
Oh, wow.
Now, she's got that. And she says she still has the boxes and everything. She didn't send me any pictures or anything. So I just emailed her back, and I said, well, look, this is potentially a valuable set, because
Yeah.
Lionel, it was a flop. They didn't make many of them.
Yeah.
And, depending on condition, if you want to bring it by here, we'll kind of appraise it for you and tell you what you got. And you can decide. But we also, for stuff like that, I'll tell you a couple of stories there. It's interesting. But for stuff like that, she's only got one thing.
Right.
I said, look, if you sell it to somebody like us, we're going to resell it. So we're only going to pay you 40% of what the value is.
Sure.
I said, you can put that thing on eBay and get almost 100%. You know, I mean, you got to pay eBay.
Yeah.
I said, so if you don't mind shipping, and I said, you just got one item, so it's not like, you know, you're
Right.
selling a bunch of stuff and you're having
Yeah.
to work hard. So she's figuring out what to do.
Yeah. Sure, you can
But-
even go to a pack and ship if you don't
yeah.
want to mess with it.
Yeah, stuff like that. And we typically, stuff that's really, really rare, we typically don't want to buy because we don't sell online. We're trying to, but we don't right now.
Yeah.
And of course, we've been saying that we're going to, but we've been saying that for 15 years.
Right.
And we're still kind of slack. But eventually we will, I hope. But if we don't sell online, then we've got this rare thing that we put a lot of money into. It's going to sit back here for God knows how long.
Sure.
Having said that, I'll tell you this very interesting story. So this lady comes in one day. She's got her dad's trains. Now she's in her 50s.
Right.
So post-war Lionel. Just basically one box. So we look, typically what we do is we'll set up a little Excel spreadsheet, you know, put it in there and show her what you got. We're looking at everything, we're looking at condition. So everything is just typical, you know, pretty decent post-war Lionel. She's got, I don't know, a couple $100 worth of trains, you know, maybe. Not a lot. But there's this one caboose. And there's something weird about this caboose. And we've looked at this stuff so much, you know, you just kind of pick it up.
Yeah.
We're looking at this, and George and I are looking at it. We can't figure this thing out.
Right.
We got a bunch of books, so we're digging into the books and everything. And finally, we found it. It is a rare caboose, and I can't remember why. I can't remember if it had an extra roof walk board or some, you know, numbers on the wrong side, or
Right.
I can't remember why. It was just a Tuscan caboose.
Right.
$1,200.
Wow.
That caboose was worth $1,200. So I took a piece of bubble wrap and I wrapped the caboose in bubble wrap and I gave it to her and I said, this caboose is worth $1,200. You need to put this on eBay and you get a worldwide audience.
Yeah.
Sell it. She said, well, I don't know. Let me call my dad. She goes outside, she's on the phone. She comes back in here, she says, no, you don't want to do that. You want to sell everything right now. And I said, well, we're not going to pay you. We don't want to buy this caboose because it's too much money. We'd be investing too much money. It's going to sit back here for years.
Sure.
Well, let me go call my dad. He goes back outside, he's on the phone, she comes back in. She said, it's an all or nothing deal. It's what he wants. He does not want to deal with it. This is what he wants to do. So we made some agreement, and I'm sure we did not pay her 40% because I told her, I said, you know, we can't deal with this.
Yeah.
Or maybe we did. I don't remember. So we bought the damn thing. And George is looking at me funny. So he said, okay, I'm going to put it in the back. Now we got a cabinet back there. We put kind of high-end stuff in. So he put $1,200 on the bottom of it, you know, and he put it in that cabinet. Well, 2 weeks later, I'm standing up there at the tech out, and this guy comes up, and he puts his caboose on the counter. And I looked at it, it's $12. That normal caboose is $12 or something.
Right.
$12. Plug it in, $12, and I'm thinking, did I say that right? And I went back over there and I looked at it again, and it was that $1,200 caboose. And I know what this guy had done. He had looked at it and said, hey, $12, I like this. So I said, well, sir, I'm sorry. I said, this is actually a rare piece, and it's not $12, it's $1,200.
Yeah.
He said, I know, I already have two, now ring it up.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. You never
It was,
know.
that doesn't happen very often, but that was,
That's awesome.
we were speechless for there for a while.
Yeah. Wow.
But he got what he wanted. I mean, it went to the right guy.
Yeah.
He loved these things, and we do have some clientele that, I mean, they're really appreciative of some of this
Sure.
older stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I say, it's rare, so we don't see a lot of it because
Right.
it's rare.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I'd love to see this lady's 1957 set. You know,
Yeah.
If we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Well, I've got to head down the road because I've got a train show to go to and a club to meet. But
Good.
Nick, this was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for just sharing your life with me here.
Yeah,
Giving me a snapshot and whatnot. So,
well, hopefully next time you come by, we'll be. We'll have this. Well, you got to wait at least 2 months.
Well, it'll probably be a year before I'm down here.
Well, we hope it'll be up and running. That'll be great. We'll have a great time at the show.
Thank you so much. You know how some places don't look like much from the outside, but the moment you step through the door, everything changes? That was my experience walking into Nick's Trains in Raleigh, North Carolina. The door barely closed behind me before I realized something important. I wasn't just walking into a hobby shop, I was stepping into a world. The air felt different, heavier somehow, charged. The faint scent of cardboard and plastic, old paper, and smoke machine oil mixed together like a perfume only train lovers would recognize. And right away, I was overwhelmed. Not in a bad way, in the best way. The aisles were tight, packed, narrow. You didn't stroll through the store, you navigated it. Shelves rose up on both sides of me, stacked floor to ceiling. Boxes pressed in close, as if the trains themselves were leaning forward, eager to be seen, eager to be chosen, eager to be purchased. I found myself instinctively turning sideways, careful not to bump anything, not wanting to disturb decades of history sitting inches from my shoulders. Every step felt intentional. Every pause felt necessary. And then it hit me. The scales. Not just one or two, but nearly every scale you could imagine. N scale, HO, O, O27, and even G scale. Each one represented with pride. Each one given space. Even in a store where space was clearly at a premium. This wasn't a place that picked favorites. This was a place that respected the entire railroad universe. Honestly, I didn't know where to look first. every shelf was a visual conversation. Bright, modern packaging next to faded boxes from decades ago. Sharp edges beside soft, worn cardboard that told you instantly this had been loved before. Some boxes were pristine, untouched, like museum pieces frozen in time. Others showed their age proudly. Creases and price stickers and handwritten notes. Evidence of lives lived, layouts built, and memories preserved. That's when I realized what truly set Nick's Trains apart. This wasn't just a store that sold new trains. This is a place where new, used, and collectible all coexisted together, without hierarchy. A brand new locomotive sat confidently next to a used one, and both had a story to tell. A modern accessory shared shelf space with something that hadn't been manufactured in years. Nothing felt out of place as I walked around. Walking through those aisles felt like I was walking through time. One moment I was looking at cutting-edge technology, digital control systems, modern rolling stock, and motive power. The next moment, I was staring at something that might have been unwrapped on a Christmas morning decades ago. And suddenly, it wasn't just about trains. It was about people. I couldn't help but imagine the hands that had touched those boxes before mine. The kids who saved allowance money. The parents who built layouts on plywood tables. The collectors who hunted for that one missing piece in their collection. Every item felt like a chapter in someone else's story, now waiting for its next reader. The packed nature of the store didn't feel chaotic. It felt intentional. Like every inch of space had been carefully claimed over years, maybe decades, of dedication. This wasn't clutter. This was accumulation with a purpose. The kind that only happens when a place grows organically, guided by passion instead of profit margins. Then there were these accessories, track in every configuration, buildings that could anchor entire towns, tiny details like figures and signs and lights that reminded me how deep this hobby really does go. This wasn't just about running trains in circles on a sheet of plywood. This was about building worlds, miniature worlds, that you or someone else was in control of. Still, I felt overwhelmed, but it wasn't the kind of overwhelm that makes you want to leave. It was the kind that makes you really take it in and slow down, that makes you take a deep breath, that makes you realize you're standing somewhere very special. There was a quiet magic in that store. No rush, no pressure, just shelves full of possibilities and aisles that demanded patience and curiosity. It felt like the kind of place where you could spend hours and still not see everything. At some point, I stopped looking for something specific and I stopped thinking about what I needed. Instead, I just absorbed it. Because places like Nick's Trains aren't just about buying things, they're about reminding you why hobbies really matter. You could feel the community in the walls, the knowledge, the conversations that must happen daily between people who truly care. This isn't a big box store. This is a gathering place. As I made my way back through some tight aisles, I noticed something. They didn't feel as narrow anymore. Maybe it was because I'd adjusted, or maybe it was because the store had already pulled me in, made me part of it, even if it was just for a brief moment. I took one last look around, knowing full well I hadn't seen anything like this before, and I hadn't seen everything either. And I like that. Some places aren't meant to be fully understood in one visit. Some places are meant to be returned to. And Nick's Trains is a place I will return to. As I was getting ready to step back outside, the world felt louder, faster, less detailed, and I realized something truly important. Nick's Trains isn't just a store you visit. It's an experience you carry with you. Overwhelmed by the scales, inspired by the history, surrounded by new, used, and collectible treasures packed into tight aisles full of wonder. That was my visit to Nick's Trains in Raleigh, North Carolina. And it won't be my last. This was just an amazing hobby shop. I really enjoyed my visit. I hope you did too. Have a wonderful day, and you all be blessed.